back in my day, there was so much toilet paper and so many eggs that we gathered at night and threw them at the houses of our enemies.
We
laugh
lived
so
in an
hard.
abundance, just a surplus.
In the day, like I remember so clearly, my mom would even drive us sometimes to like TP other people's houses, and it was
What?
just
Your
the
mom
waste,
participated in
the
it? Your mom
waste
was
of toilet
a
paper.
legend.
Like we would
was
go
so
to
cheap.
Costco and we would just stock up on it's like the house toilet paper and then the like TP toilet paper that stayed in the garage. Hello, nerds. This is so weird, and honestly, I don't even know how to kick this thing off. But this is my last episode of Travel Nerds today.
The last pod. Sad.
The last pod. I mean, who knows? Maybe Kenny will replace me with like an AI generated version of myself. We have enough audio for you to continue on without me, but then you'd have to write my dialogue, which would be boring.
I don't know. I think I have enough content on you to almost map your person. What if I turn you into the movie Her, which can we talk about is like far beyond its time? Or it
I
was
never
far
saw
beyond.
it.
Really?
It
I mean,
always gave me the willies. I was like,
Yeah, it was basically like Scarlett Johansson was Chat GPT. This dude, I think it was some famous guy of the
Joaquin.
times. Yeah, there you go. I
Phoenix.
knew who it was. I just didn't know how to say his name. So thank you for that. And yeah, he basically falls in love with his AI chatbot, which is an insane thing.
I remember when we were in Miami for some conference or something, and that was right when the AI girlfriends thing came out, and then we did a pod about it right after. But I genuinely thought that would like stick around. Maybe it has, and I just don't know anything about it. But I remember when that came out, and it was like you can buy a subscription to a language model girlfriend. I thought that would really take off.
Okay, so
Because the worst thing about girlfriends is we all talk back.
yeah, you're not lying. Okay, so it's interesting that you say the thing about AI girlfriends. So I was reading about this because I heard a crazy stat on a podcast, and it's actually growing in popularity. So, okay, we're going to play a game later. So this is no lie, but we are going to play Two Truths and a Lie Travel Edition. But 1 in 5 men, so 20% on dating apps have tried AI girlfriends.
Ew, 1 in 5?
One
You're
in
making
5.
that up.
No, I swear to God, I am reading it directly from the internet, and we know everything on the internet is absolutely real.
Ugh, God. Someone's like, well, that's not what my other girlfriend said. You're like, what? I'm sorry.
All right, let me ask you this. So you're in a semi-newish relationship. What if Jamie
No, I'm not.
had, well, I mean, it's like sub a year.
It's like a month away from, okay, sure. We're
all
new.
We're new. Okay. All right. So what if you found that Jamie every day basically like talked to an AI and just like instead of talking with you, it just talked with it and it just like shot the shit and like chatted. But he gave the AI like a super hot like avatar.
We're not playing this game. We're not playing this weird game.
You don't want to play this game.
I would go off the grid so hard. I would go- live in Patagonia, no access to internet or any technology. I would be done.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think about too is with all this AI coming out in technology, I almost think that it'll get infused into more areas of our life, but I actually am kind of optimistic that it'll have an opposite effect and it'll kind of push people to get into the real world a little bit more. Like for work, we see in-person events are so big. Like people don't want to attend a webinar, even though it's like the exchange of information is really what you're doing at an event. But there is a magic of being face to face with somebody that I think gets lost in technology. And so I'm actually bullish on like that in real life is kind of here to stay. And I think in real life will actually become more popular, not less popular.
For sure. It's boring as hell to just listen to all these like AI innovative this and that. It's like exciting for a while now. I mean, it is, it's not like it's slowing down, you know, it's integrating pretty seamlessly into like every facet of our lives. But even like, and there's little things that I love, like, you know, how text has the opportunity for you to use writing tools. So
Yeah.
iPhone messages allows you to use like a language learning model to write stuff and
Correct.
grammatically correct you. I just think it's the imagination and creativity that's going to suffer. It's not like that is going to make people not know how to spell things correctly, or like just that little push isn't hurting that kind of stuff, but it's definitely hurting the ability for people to like creatively think and use their brain. It's going to be a problem. We've talked about this so many times. I love on our very last podcast, we're just like wasting breath on AI.
We don't have, but okay. If you want to talk about things that have been accelerating or like picking up, one of the things that I never thought that we would say in our time, but the number of plane crashes slash incidents in the last 90 days, I think
Super
it's
creepy.
I want to say it's in the last 10 years, it's been the most incidents of in a 90-day period of like, I think going back like 10 or 20 years, which is crazy. In a time where it's getting safer, I sent you the video of the Delta plane
It
that rolled
scared
over
me.
in Toronto. What did you think about that?
It scared me big time. First of all, the footage is so like clear and close up. Whoever shot that was right there. And you can hear their shock in their voice. They're like, "Oh, I was just like videoing because I was close." Oh my God. Like that is the scariest part, is just hearing like the honest fear in that man's voice. I don't know what to think of it, because two things. First of all, we have met the innovative Wonder Woman that's the CEO of the Toronto airport in Amsterdam, Deborah
We did.
Flint. She is
Oh,
so cool. We love her. We don't know her personally, you guys, so don't, you know, don't pretend like we're best friends. I wish we didn't get that close. She was kind of like a celebrity, you know. She's on a panel. She's so like well spoken and cool and knowledgeable. I was like, wow, I like this lady. And then she was in the CNN article that I read about the crash, and I was like, Deborah. But what a crazy thing to happen at your airport. Not a crash in like the normal familiar way you hear about it either. Like how many times do you hear like, oh, sorry, we just came in too hot. Like we landed
Yeah.
too hard. That's so nuts. So if you guys don't know, what happened was a Delta flight landed at the Toronto airport and they came in too heavy, broke all of their landing gear by landing on the runway so hard, and then in turn slid across the icy runway and knocked their own wings off. And basically the cabin, the barrel of the plane rolled over. And it said in the article that a lot of the people were like, we were hanging upside down like bats, like trying to stuck in there. And luckily the first responders got there fast enough to where no one was, you know, there was no critical damage or problems, well, to the plane, of course, but there was only 18 people injured and no lives lost, thank God. But very scary video. Does not make me feel amazing about landing at the Toronto airport tomorrow, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know that when you sent me the text, I was like, oh no, are you going to try to cancel the trip?
No, I'm just like, oh my God, I've never heard of that happening ever. I mean, we've been doing this for what, 2.5 years, and
Yeah.
we cover stuff like this all the time. I've never heard that they just like landed too hard. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so I dug into this just like a touch, scratched the surface, and I found out that typical landing speeds of commercial airliners, they land at like roughly 150 to 175 miles per hour. Now, I don't know about the angle of descent. I'm sure that plays a factor into it, but how fast do you have to be going to just break all of your landing gear? And then honestly, like this is I mean, the bright side of this is like, no one died, at least that we know as of February 18th filming this. I mean, it's hanging like bats. Yeah, trust me, it's a shitty and traumatic way. And Delta better give those people, they
God.
all better get 500,000 miles. If they get anything less than 500,000 miles,
miles.
I mean, they have to be compensated. They were hanging like bats. Dude, they became Batman on
Give
a
them
Delta flight.
US dollars, please.
Oh, you know Delta's not
500,000
giving it.
miles
You know Delta's not
for the
giving
trauma
US dollars.
to never get on a flight again. Here's 500,000 miles to trust us to fly all over the world again. Hell no. No.
All right, if you were Batwoman in seat 22B, just hanging upside down after that, how long do you think that you have to go before you get on another Delta plane?
Well, you've flown with me a lot. You know my least favorite part of flying is landing. I always feel like we're landing too hard, even if we're fine. That's my biggest fear is like the
Yeah.
second the wheels touch I'm always like holding my breath every time. I just can't imagine like the wheels snapping off. And also think of how much, how hard you're coming down anyway. I wonder like what the actual pressure is and how much it can withstand. It must have been like, how do you miscalculate that? Also, isn't it all like done by robots anyway? Like, do they actually land, or is it something where it's like calculated based on the weather and the wind, and you know what I mean? It's like a weatherman doesn't really do the math anymore. Like, isn't it the same thing with pilots?
I think pilots still do the takeoff and landing, but while it's in the air, it generally flies itself. But I'm not totally sure. I can ask though.
That man's got a lot of explaining to do, the pilot.
Oh, could you imagine?
No, I
mean,
can't imagine. It's scary and humiliating. And then it puts every other pilot at every other airline, especially Delta, like on high alert. Now you're, getting watched a little bit closer because this hasn't happened to any airline in when? How long? When's the last crash from landing too aggressively?
Yeah, and
bizarre.
it's definitely not something that you see happen on like American airliner planes, right? Like the Deltas, Americans. But honestly, I mean, the airlines that have had incidents in the last 90 days, American Airlines, Delta, Air Canada. I think Southwest is generally good. I saw that there was a plane that ran into a parked plane the other day. Did you see that? That was insane. Yeah, it was like, it's just like.
What's the American one? Running into the Black Hawk or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Black Hawk
That.
one, yeah.
Oh, I want to talk about that, but I don't want to get sniped.
Oh, you're in the conspiracy theory
I've been
range
watching
of this one?
so many CIA and stuff shows. I just can't get it out of my head. We watched Lioness hard the other week. I just feel like it's
It's
got
so
to
good.
be a conspiracy theory, but we can't. I don't want to. I'm too young.
It's like where we dare not talk about Boeing because we're afraid. We're not whistleblowers here. No.
No, I don't even know how to whistle.
Wait, is that true?
It's a real hit or miss if I
Wait,
try.
do it. Just try it. Oh, that's not bad. That's good.
I did it, but there's no oomph behind it. There's no confidence.
That's not bad, right?
You whistle with your tongue. Yours sounds weird. I don't like
Does
it.
it sound weird? Are you
I've always
judging my
wanted
whistle?
my
That's
mom
disgusting.
could whistle like really aggressively with her hands, like putting her
Oh,
two
the
fingers
hand
in her
whistle,
mouth.
that's elite.
Oh, if you heard that in the cul-de-sac, you went inside immediately.
The hand whistle, first of all, it seems fake when people do it. I think they're holding a whistle, but you're saying that she could really go and sounds would come out, like piercing sounds?
It made every kid in the neighborhood go home. They were like, she's on a tear.
Well, Sherry's whistling again.
If she's doing it, she's called all the other moms who can't whistle.
Yeah, it's time to pack up this show and get on home for dinner.
There is something really cute and wholesome about growing up in a cul-de-sac.
Oh,
You
it's
know?
the best way to. I mean, people who grew up in like apartments and cities, I kind of like, dude, you missed out so much. Like, there's nothing like getting lost in the woods or like just being in an open space. when
Nothing
you're a
like
kid.
being a young kid and get lost in the woods.
You've ever been lost in
Weird.
like woods or no?
Yeah, I grew up in Louisiana. Of course, I've been lost in the woods.
Why you laugh at me and judge
Just because
me for
it
being lost in
sounds-
the woods?
It sounds like something you'd have to like put. You have to put a police report out on the kid getting lost in the woods.
100%. What's the worst thing that you ever did in the woods?
This is a family podcast.
All right,
We're
whisper
not
it.
about to talk about the time I drank a Four Loco in the woods.
Oh my God, a Four Loco. Mine was actually
I
pretty
think those
good.
are illegal now.
I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations has come up on this, but when I was a
Isn't it
kid,
statute?
statute. Okay, thank you.
Or is
The
it statute?
statute. No, it's statute. It's definitely not statue like Statue of Liberty. So that's just my own slurring of my words.
I was making sure. I honestly was just like, have I been getting it wrong this whole
No,
time?
no, no. You nailed it. The statute. Is that better? Okay, thanks. The statute of limitations is ran up on this, but when I was a kid, my father was one of the fire commissioners in my town, and little old 14-year-old Kenny, he liked lighting fires. Okay. And I went into the woods and there was a bunch of brush, and I lit a fire and I would let it burn up and I would stomp it out. I was a good stomper. Stomped tons of fires, never let it get out of control. But one day it was a little dry and the fire got out of control, and it basically burned down like a small section of the woods. It wasn't anything bad. But once it got out of control, I basically got on my bike and just booked it home. And I went home and I told my dad, granted, I was like, I want to say I was 12 to 14. And I booked it home and I told my dad, like, hey, Dad, there's a fire in the woods that's raging. He calls the fire department. Of course, he's one of the fire commissioners, and he gets them, they put it out. It's all good, right? He was so proud of me for reporting the fire. I let that story live on that I reported the fire and didn't cause it until I was about 24.
He's like, my little fire marshal, so proud.
He's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. Good
Growing
job,
up,
bud.
following in my footsteps.
I'm just
You're actually
torching
just
the
an
wood.
arsonist. Yeah.
I mean, kids do such stupid shit when they're young. Like, we used to do some like ratchet stuff. That's why the other day I was walking around the lake with my wife Karen / Diva, and she was complaining about the damn kids and them riding their scooters, and I was like, Diva, that's like the
damn
most
kids.
wholesome fun. It's the most wholesome fun that you can have. Like, they're just riding around the neighborhood. Like, we used to do way worse shit. Like, we used to be bad.
I'm trying to find the story that I put on my Instagram. Oh, here it is. Back in my day, there was so much toilet paper and so many eggs that we gathered at night and threw them at the houses of our enemies.
We
me laugh
lived
so
in an
hard.
abundance of just the
Because
surplus.
back in the day, like I remember so clearly, my mom would even drive us sometimes to like TP other people's houses, and it was
What?
just
Your
the
mom
waste,
participated in
the
it? Your mom
waste
was
of toilet
a
paper.
legend.
Like we would
was
go
so
to
cheap.
Costco and we would just stock up on it's like the house toilet paper and then the like TP toilet paper that stayed in the garage. And then we're just like arguing and starting wars over toilet paper post COVID, and eggs are $1 trillion when you used to just throw them at Rachel Johnson's house in the night. It's just really funny.
Oh, God. Now, how many people's houses did you egg?
Oh, it had to be upwards of 20.
No.
Certainly.
Really?
Usually it was like the same person multiple times, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. You know what's
like we had a squad of kids in our neighborhood. There was like a family of like 5 kids. And so they
Yeah.
got targeted often.
Yeah. So we weren't a spray and pray. We were a very focused group. So we were more like a Navy SEAL than like a Marine. Like, we knew which house we wanted to egg, right? And I won't say his name just in case it comes back to haunt me. But I'll tell you after the pod. I really won't say it because we just messed this guy's house up bad. And I am sorry. It's not funny. But when I was a kid, we were like, haha. But he was the richest kid in the neighborhood, so we used to just pelt his house. And I was like, what is that? Like, I was like, why did I not like the rich kid? He was cool too.
The eggs were bad. The toilet paper is like whatever, but the eggs, like you throw them on their roof and then it bakes in the sun and it ruins.
And then
like,
there's
the
an
amount of
omelet, but the
things-
omelet doesn't taste good, right? You're like,
Try to
wait.
eat it a few days later, it's unseasoned. But I feel like the amount of things that we used to do that were like haha funny like that are actually so messed up. Like in retrospect, thinking about putting like the like saran wrapping people's cars and stuff. Like it ruins the
Yeah.
paint and the sun. And there's like all these things that you were just like a 9-year-old being like, haha, but it like really
Yeah.
ruins people's stuff. And you thought you were being like really bad, but it's like innocent crimes. But even as an adult, you're like, who would do that? That is so dark.
All right. So if you listen to Travel Nerds in the early days, I'm talking about like the very beginning. We actually started by playing little games. So I thought
And there were
that
5 of us.
it was far too many people. Yeah, but it was a cool learning experience, and I felt like it brought the team together. But anyway, we started off by playing games, and I think those early episodes kind of weirdly hold up. It was semi interesting. Anyway, we transitioned the pod. I thought to come full circle for our last pod together that we could play a game called Two Truths and a Lie. But we'll do it travel edition. So I'll give you the name of a city, and then I'm gonna read 3 statements, and then you have to tell me which one is the lie. And I want to see how many of these that you get right.
Okay. I'm relieved
in?
that you're doing, yeah. Anytime anyone wants to play this game, like in real life, I always literally panic and I'm like, I know nothing about myself. Like, I can't possibly think of it. All right.
Yeah.
hit me.
So this is all about cities. This is Two Truths and a Lie travel edition. First up is Chicago, which holds a near and dear place in your heart. Here are the 3 statements. Chicago is the capital of Illinois.
No.
The Willis Tower, one of the tallest buildings in the United States, is located in Chicago.
Yes.
And Chicago is famously nicknamed the Windy City. Which one's a lie?
The first one.
We started off easy. Okay.
I believe, and this might also be wrong, but that's not part of the game to be right about the wrong thing. But I'm pretty sure Champaign, Illinois is the capital.
Okay. No.
Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. No. Okay.
Maybe that's not true. Never mind.
No.
But it's definitely not Chicago.
No, we're going a little Simpson. Springfield, Illinois.
That's the capital?
That's the capital.
Did you know there's a Springfield in every state in America?
Is that a lie?
You'll never know.
I'm gonna
think
look
it
it
is.
up. Is
Pretty
there
sure it is.
a Springfield in every state in America? Okay. The AI is going to weigh in on this one. So just give us 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I should have used a different model. Whoa. No. There's not a Springfield in every state.
I didn't even have to be wrong in this whole game, and I've been wrong twice.
All right, next up, we're going to go a place that's near and dear to our hearts. Now, this isn't a city, but it's small enough to be one, Curacao. So you should nail this, honestly, pretty easy. Number 1, Curaçao's official language is exclusively Spanish. Number 2, the island is part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And number 3, Curacao is a Caribbean island celebrated for its colorful Dutch colonial architecture.
The first one's a lie.
Oh, all right. Let's see if you can turn it into a truth. What is the official language?
English, Dutch, and Spanish.
So it's actually Dutch and Papa Miento. Fringe, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, they're right off the coast of Venezuela, so I was like, what do they speak in Venezuela? Spanish? Papa Miento.
Papa Miento.
I
Papa
love
Miento
this game.
sounds like Papa Miento sounds like something that would like be honestly.
It sounds
like, low-key
delicious.
solid on tacos. Like that's where my mind went. Solid
Can I
on
have an
tacos.
extra side of Papa Miento?
Make that 2. Thank you. Okay, next one, London, near and dear to our hearts again. Here are the 3 statements. Okay, here we go. The London Underground is the world's oldest metro system. 2, London is the capital city of the United Kingdom. And 3, Tower Bridge is the only bridge crossing the River Thames.
Ooh, that's really hard. I feel like the first one's true.
The first one that I said was the London Underground is the world's oldest metro system.
I'm going to say that the Tower Bridge is the only one that crosses the River Thames is a lie. Because
Good.
there's-
You and I have.
I
there's
have
many of them.
visually seen both of them at the same time.
Yeah, if you right, so like Tower Bridge is like way down the river, and you and I have walked across the bridge that's right by Parliament a bunch of times, right? We got that hot dog there. That was great.
Isn't it
Okay.
funny the like psychology of when someone asks you something, even that you genuinely know, like the fear and panic of being asked makes you stupid. Isn't that
Publicly
crazy?
in front of thousands of listeners? Yeah,
I
man,
know.
the pressure's
so
on.
embarrassing.
Okay, the pressure is going to be on for this one. You and I, this is the only city on the list that you and I have never been to together.
Okay.
But I think we've been to on separate occasions. You'll have to let me know. Okay,
was
Washington, D.C. Here we go. Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. Number one. Number two, Washington, D.C. is part of the state of Maryland. And number three, the city is named after the first president, George Washington.
The second one is a lie.
Washington, D.C. is part of the state of Maryland. Would you like to lock that in as the lie?
Is it Maryland? Is it Delaware? Is it wait,
Are you going to
it
lock it in
on-
or no?
locked in?
All right, it's locked in. You're correct. It is a federal district and is not part of any state. Good job, Connor.
Which is weird. That is
weird.
crazy.
It took, as a kid, this is one of those things that took me a while to wrap my head around, where I was like, what? Wait, so it's not part of it? It's just its own thing? That's
I
kind of
was
crazy.
like, no. Because I know, no. Am I crazy? No, Delaware is right. Yeah. I'm real bad at all that kind of stuff.
All right, here we
Don't
go.
even ask me things about federal districts. I don't,
Stop.
not my specialty.
Stop. Okay, so next up, we're going to move to Europe. We're crossing the pond, and we're going to double click on Amsterdam. Here are your three statements. Number one, bicycles are prohibited in Amsterdam's direct city center. Number two, the city is renowned for its extensive network of canals and historic architecture. And number three, Amsterdam is the constitutional capital of the Netherlands.
I think the first one's got to be a lie.
Bicycles are prohibited in Amsterdam city center?
Like, where can you not? Like, that's a lie.
You're right. That is the lie. Yeah, you and I crisscrossed that entire. We
I
went.
was
We rode our bikes to go play ping pong at a kid's birthday party. That shit was far. We literally went like 6 miles on bikes, and then we just rock up to this ping pong bar, and it's me and Connor. It was like a Sunday or like a
I
Monday
also
night.
felt
I was
kind of
like,
bad. I was like, no one told us it was like Little Tony's B-Day.
and these
We're
kids
just
were
here.
sick too. They were sick.
just slaying the tables.
They were
like
sick.
killing it. It was weird.
I was like, wait, is every child a prodigy in ping pong in Amsterdam?
It's like an
This is the most-
extracurricular activity in preschool. It's like, holy crap.
Okay.
Little
All
boys
right.
got game. No, I
Yeah.
just remember sitting there and being like, oh my God.
And then they would do like little silly trick shots, and we're like, can we do those trick shots? We look at each other and we're like, All right, last one. This is fitting. We go there on Wednesday. We're going to go to Toronto, to Canada. And here are your three statements. Number one, Toronto is the most populous city in Canada. Number two, Toronto is the capital city of Canada. And number three, the city skyline is dominated by the iconic CN Tower. You're thinking about this one.
Well, I don't know a lot about Canada, like at all. So if you were like, Drake is from there, Justin Bieber is from there, that's like all I know. Most populated, super probable. But I'm also like, I don't know. How big is Vancouver? How big is Ontario? I don't know. Where is Ontario? Montreal's over here. Toronto's in the middle. Vancouver's over here, right? I think.
Right.
CN Tower. I think that's true. Pretty sure
Okay.
that's true. Most populous, and then I don't think Toronto is the capital. Maybe that's Ontario. I'm going to go with that as the lie.
All right, you got it. You nailed it. Toronto is the capital city of Canada is a lie. The
What is it?
actual capital is Ottawa. Random, right?
I honestly suck at trivia. It's embarrassing.
But to be honest with you, you say that you suck, but you nailed all of these.
You gave me some easy ones, though.
I'm not going to embarrass you on your last podcast.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
rude. All right,
I
let me
needed that.
ask Chat GPT to give me a hard. Okay, make this next city a little harder. Okay, you pick the city. I'm going to pick the level of hard.
Singapore.
Ooh, okay.
Because it's
Here
going to
we
be
go.
hard anyway. So I don't know that much.
All right.
Beautiful golf course, though. Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's totally beautiful. What was your as this loads inside of ChatGPT, which is sponsoring this game? Thank you very much,
Sure.
Sam Altman. What was your favorite thing that we did in Singapore while this loads?
Probably eating a durian fruit and just being like in sheer shock. It's fun when you can do something so simple, like try a local fruit that feels like a whole experience. Like buying it at the market, the guy showing you how to crack it open, smelling it, being terrified to try it because it smells like death, eating it and not being able to even put into words what it tastes like. Like that was a small thing out of all the cool things that we got to do. But like I wish Eric could have tried that with us. He wouldn't have, and he would have been so
Yeah.
funny about it. But I really enjoyed the golf tournament. It was just like something you would never do there. And I thought that was kind of cool, and getting like stuck in the rain and all of us are just like casually walking in the pouring rain at a professional masters tournament in masters. I don't know. It was cool. It was fun. It's obviously not. It's not master. We don't have to get into the thick of that, but it's just fun there because I'm sure that that's the kind of place where people would. Oh, but the gardens.
I was gonna say you actually gave me the like things that would not even be in my top 3 things, but it was interesting. Maybe okay.
It's
Let
all
me give
coming
you
back
one.
to me now.
All
Okay.
right. My favorite thing, and this is such a small moment that you may be like, what? But so on the golf tournament day, we were all going to basically go to this like water park that floated in the ocean. And online it looked cool. There
That we
were
heard was
inflatable
sick.
slides. We heard it was sick. Anyway, we trek like this was not easy to find. You have to like walk for a lot. You have to get dropped off. You have to walk. And we
The
got
pitch
there.
was that it was just like Wipeout from the TV
Correct.
show Wipeout. So we were like, oh, we can go like do this obstacle course in the water. But it was actually the size of my palm.
It was like for like toddlers. So we get there and we see it. And I'm just like, and Connor's pretty much down to do anything. Like if you're lucky enough to travel with her in the future, some person in the audience, she's down to do whatever.
couldn't do it.
And she literally looks at you, she's like, I can't do it. The look on her face, she's like, don't make me do this.
This
Like
is
I will do it, but please
humiliating.
don't. It's humiliating.
And you know that smell? That like inflatable slide smell?
You smelled it from 300 yards away.
No,
What are you,
I'm
a
just saying
fox?
like No, I'm just saying like I was only willing to endure the smell if it was cool. And I was like, damn, just going out, swimming all the way out there to go sit on this thing that was the size of like a blow up mattress. I couldn't.
Yeah,
couldn't
I would
do it.
say that like your face was like great moment, but then yeah, come on, like walking through the gardens next to the Marina Bay Sands.
The gardens are very, very cool. Don't ever miss out on that if you go.
Stop. All right. Well, ChatGPT after 15 seconds has returned us your final 2 truths and a lie on Travel Nerds history. She's signaling, give it to me, like Neo from The Matrix. Here are the 2 truths and a lie about Singapore. This one is designed to be tricky, says ChatGPT. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Singapore consists of a single main island with no smaller outlying islands. That's number one. Number two, English, Malay, Mandarin, Chinese, and Tamil are the four official languages of Singapore. And the last one is Singapore is a city, an island, and a sovereign nation all in one.
The first
Spot
one's a
the
lie.
Whoa. Are you going to lock it in? This is for 100%. Oh, she's feeling good.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. Na 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 na. Drum roll, please. You're right. Yep. Singapore is actually just one of over 60 islands in total.
I knew that because I'm not an idiot and visually, of course, like one of the little outlier islands. Those are their own little, no, please.
No.
And of
Singapore.
course, you know, it's a sovereign country. And I wrote a Substack on Singapore. So I remember being like, oh my God, 4 official languages? That's a lot.
Oh, that's a deep pull.
I knew more than I thought.
Did you know? I know that you don't keep track of this, but did you know how many subscribers that the Travel Nerd Substack has?
I don't want to know. It'll make me sad because I just gave up on it so hard.
You gave up on it so hard. I'm not even gonna. We keep getting subscribers for it, and I'll tell
Because
you
I'm a
after the
brilliant
pod.
writer. And
You
that
are
was
pretty good.
before ChatGPT was even a thing. I couldn't
Yeah.
even fake write those if I tried.
Honestly, I have a Substack, just like a subtle plug. I don't. I have ChatGPT like help me research, but I don't have it write anything. It's trash when it comes down to it. I've like totally abandoned giving it anything to write. I think that it doesn't
Even
do the
when you
voice well.
do write your own versus writing ChatGPT and then being like, make this sound more normal or make this sound more conversational. It's like, even when I do write my own LinkedIn posts, who cares? Like no one appreciates or knows the difference. You know, it's sad. It's like, how do you move on as a writer, not a writer, but as like a casual hobbyist writer without being accused of just using that to write it, you know? Like I did that to you. You were like, no, I seriously wrote this Substack. And I was like, no, you didn't. You're like, yes, I did. It's like, it's just because you're a good writer and ChatGPT probably could have done it really fast. And how do you ever stand up for yourself and be able to put stuff out there? It is hard.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I think that you have to develop such a distinct voice, but eventually it's going to get good enough to even write in your voice and your style and your tone and all that. So
Which is crazy. When I started the Substack, that was two and a half, maybe plus, maybe 2 years and 7 months ago or something. And that was way before ChatGPT came out. How weird is that to think about? It just kind of feels like it's infiltrated our lives so much that it's been around for a while, but it has not.
I'm looking it up now. It doesn't say how
Here,
many
no one on the
followers
pod cares
it
about our Substack. We don't care.
Yeah, right.
They don't care. We care.
Yeah, we care. But all right. Well, you're not going to continue that. You're not going to continue the pod. You're leaving us all for good. So yeah,
It's been really fun though. I feel like I've learned a lot. It was fun doing the research and being like, let's go on Business Insider and see what's going on in the travel section. It was fun and cool. And it's fun having like something consistent, no matter what you're doing in your life. Consistency is nice. And there aren't a lot of consistent things that I have going on in my life. So this was a fun thing to look forward to. It's been real, Kenneth.
It has been real, Conran. And we got to talk to a lot of cool people that I don't know without the pod that we would just get to sit down and have like a long form conversation with. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. Like, I mean, Corporate Bro to Nick Huber to Stephanie Wong, Harper. And then there's a bunch in between. Like we interviewed our clients, Pam and Lori. Jared
I got to
from
meet
Offsite.
Julio Gallerati. That was cool.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
I've been
that was
listening
like-
to his podcast for years and I'm just like yapping to him about his travels.
He's on our podcast. He got abducted
That's
by
crazy.
by the Taliban. That was a crazy epic. Like sometimes I'm like, holy shit. We actually had like really cool guests. We had really cool content. I think you and I have had some cool conversations. And it's been funny to see like what takes off and what doesn't. So I know that this will be the last time that we do this in this format, but thank you. It's been a journey. And I wish you best of luck in whatever media things that you have to do. You'll kill it in anything that you do. So thanks for kind of doing this with me and taking a shot and growing the pod and having people come up to us in public at conferences and say, I listened to your podcast. Like still one of the more surreal things. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, Connor.
Thank you. And even if it's not my hope and dream and future to be a podcaster, I could see it for you. You got the whole setup. You like to talk to people in that form. Do something, I don't know, just do something. And you like doing it genuinely for fun. Like I like the yapping part, but I hate the like trying to track numbers of things or writing a description or editing or picking a thumbnail. All of that kind of stuff is the bane of my existence. Hopping on here and yapping, could do it all day, every day. So I honestly think you should keep doing it.
Maybe I will. We'll see.
But to all of you listening, crazy, thank you for being along for the journey. And who knows, maybe we'll be like super old and retired one day and we'll be like, let's do Travel Nerds again. And then we'll just kick it back up. What do you think?
It just comes back in 2053.
It's like Grandma and Grandpa edition.
Look, I think we should end the pod. In reality, we were just doing the pod to interview interesting people and to shoot content. Really for LinkedIn, that was the genesis. But really, if we're digging into the real reason, we were doing it for our grandparents. So if I can have a sign off to both of our grandmothers, if you even made it this far, which I don't think that you did because your attention span is short, but at least my grandmother says, thanks for listening. And it's been cool to like text you and talk about the pod. I think that was one of the coolest things that I got to do is that the pod became an artifact for me and my grandmother to talk about. And then for me, you and my grandmother to talk too. Like she loves talking about the pod, which is really sweet. And that's something that will be really cool.
It makes me want to acquire more hobbies that just allow me to connect with my family members because, God, it's hard to keep up with your family. It's like really, really, really hard.
And you hate social media too, so that's even tougher because really that's how you keep up with your extended family is like Facebook.
Yeah. I went on Facebook today for the first time in months and months.
Bold.
So many weird Facebook Marketplace people. From me trying to sell my stuff.
So
I was like, catfish, weirdo. Whose name is actually Seymour Butts? This is not real. I am scared. But anyways, should we say it together? Should I just say it?
We'll do it together.
Okay, you ready? Later, nerds.
Later, nerds.